So yesterday we have learned about the objects, the basic things we have already covered, uh, like how to create an object and what are the methods. Like first way we have seen about the object literals, and another way by using constructor method. Okay, and we have also seen like how to access any property of object or how to add something new in that new property, or if something is there already, how you can reassign that value. We have also seen the computed properties name. Okay, and we have also seen like how to use the dot operators to access that one, and the bracket notation also. And we have seen like by using expression also we were able to get that property name. Okay, so today, and yeah, yesterday we have also seen like how to use that shorthand property name, and how to iterate with that property of any object. So today we are going to learn about the call by value and call by reference. What exactly is that? Okay, so before starting with that call by value and call by reference, do you have any question? Anyone?
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, having one question. Suppose we have to iterate over object, then we can use like for in method.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we go with the map also? Map.
Yes, but what you have to do, you have to wrap that object inside an array. Today we will see that. Don't worry about that one. Okay.
Sometime they are using object assign. What mean this?
Sorry.
Sometime we are using C in code object assign.
Yeah, today that also we are going to cover. Don't worry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank
Okay. So today we are going to learn about call by value and call anything else that you have call by reference. Anyone? Do you have any question, anything else related to that? So do you know, like if you have any prior experience with any other programming language, what is call by value and call by reference? Anyone? Any idea? No? Okay. So today we will see that. So first we are going to see here call by value. Okay. So we'll see first call by value. So I'm going to write here one code where num is equal to 10. Okay. And here I'm going to write another value as new num is equal to num. Okay. And then I'm writing here console dot log num new num. So tell me what will be the output here.
both will print 10.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And why it will happen?
Actually, num in line number 883, it assign a 10 num value to the new num.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so here we have inside num, we have what? Value 10. And that value we are assigning where? In new num. So here also the value will be 10 only, isn't it? So here num value is what? 10 and new num value is also 10, isn't it? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign here num is equal to 30. And again, I'm going to check here the value of num and new num. What will be the output now?
mm, first it print 10 10. After that it changes to 30 30.
Are you sure?
Yes. Mm, yes, yes, yes.
So here you are getting 10, 10, 30, and 10, not 30, 30. And why it is happening?
We are not assigning that new value to new num. That's why.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So here what is happening, here the first time, whatever value you have, first time you have assigned. Okay. In flow, we will go. First, what we are doing, assignments, isn't it? Am I right? First, we will do assignment or declaration?
Declaration.
Declaration, yeah. So first we will do declaration where num, where new num. So initially, what will be the value of num? Undefined. New num is also undefined. Then we are going to assign 10 in it. So num value will be 10. And again, I'm assigning whatever the value inside num, assign that one where? To new num, new num. And then I'm going to print here what?
Num.
Num, and then
New num.
new num. So what is num right now? 10. New num is also
10.
10. Then what I'm saying here, assign value in what?
New num.
Assi- Assign 30 in which variable?
Num.
Num. So it is going to update 10 to 30. Okay. So here still you have what? You have 10 only, because again you are not going to reassign that. So right now when you will print num, you will get 30. And for new num, you will get 10 only, because next time you have not assigned the updated value, isn't it? Only once you have assigned this one. So this is known as the concept of what? Call by value. So whatever primitive data type you are using, that will work based on the call by value. Okay, because this variable is going to store the original value, not the reference, not the address. Okay, are you getting my point? So here num is going to store directly the value, the actual value. So here first time if you are doing assignment 10, and then you are saying assign that value in new num. Okay, at the time the value got updated here. Then if you will print num, that is 10. If you will print new num, that is also 10. Then you are saying later, hey, update this value. Which value? Num value to 30, from 10 to 30. So this will be updated. Now you are not going to perform any operation on this, no? So that's why it will be idle. Whatever you will save there, no, it will remember that only. So that we can see by using here a debugger. Here we have global scope, and right now in global scope we have what? Two things, num and new num. New num is right now undefined. Num is also undefined. Now I'm going for the next step. Okay. Now, if you will check here, num is what? 10. And still new num is what? Undefined. It will come to the next line. Here it is going to assign what value? That value 10 into new num. So now if you will see here, new num is also 10. Okay. It is going to print this one. Right now on console, you won't get anything. Now, next thing here is it will print that value num. And what is that? 10. Okay. Now, the next thing here is it is going for the next line and new num value is also 10. Now I'm saying update that value. Right now, see here, what is that? 10. On num, if you will hover here, you will get what? 10. Now it is going to update here that value with that updated value called, you can see that is 30. So here we have num as 30. So now if you are going to print num value, you will get what? 30. And new num is still same. Okay. So it will print first 30. You can see here on console, it is 30. And now, what is the new num? Because we have not updated this one, that will remain same, 10. So it is going to print that value, 10, the last value. Okay. You can see 10, 10, 30, 10. So whenever you are using reference value type, so it is not going to change dynamically, even though if you have copied somewhere, it will not update each and every place. So this is holding the value. Num is also holding the value. So whatever value you will assign, it will remember that value only. It is not holding reference. So this is known as call by value, which is able to just store value. That is known as what? Call by value. Whenever you will try to get the value from there, or if you want to update the value, it is going to update the value of that particular variable. Okay. So this is known as call by value. Now we have call by reference. So that is related to array and object. And both of them are type of what? What type of?
Object.
Object, exactly. So now we will see one thing here where, okay, where I'm going to write x is equal to 30. Instead of x, we'll take here now obj. Obj is equal to, let's say, num. I'm saying num as 30. Okay, semicolon. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create here another variable called obj1 is equal to what? Obj. Fine. So now I'm going to do what? I'm going to print that object. Console.log. Here we'll try to print obj1. So what will be the output now? Both of them are going to print the same object, num30 and num30, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like okay, so I will write here, let's say for the better example I can take this one. Okay, Okay, fine. So obj dot that value of num I'm going to update here as let's say 60. Okay. So what will be the output now? Here you can see for object 1 here we have num property and the value is 30. For object 2 the value is what? Sorry, the property name is num and value is again 30. Now what I did here, obj dot num means for the first object what I did, I have updated the value of this property. What is that? Num to 60. And now I'm going to update, like, tell me one thing. If I want to access this num, what I can do? Can we write here obj dot num? Is it correct?
Yes.
And here as we have copied the same thing here. So for obj1 also we have num property. So can we write here obj dot num, obj1 dot num? So we should get the value now, isn't it? Here we should get the value of what? First object num property value and second object num property value, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what will be the output now?
60, 60.
60 60. Why 60 60? I'm updating for the first object, no? Here I can write, let's say obj1, and here obj1, this one obj2, 1, this one as 2, obj1, obj1, and here 2. Now it will be easy to understand, no? First object and second object. So why, if it is going to print 60, then tell me why? Because I'm updating the first object. See, you will get 60 60 only, that is correct. Here we have initially, like, you can see that is num 30, then we are getting 60 60. Okay, why it is happening, you know? Because give me just 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute, I'm just attaching the pen tab. So here what is happening, you know, in the case of object, Let's say here we have where obj1, you have created one object, okay, and here we have num is equal to 30, or not is equal to num colon 30, okay. And the second thing what you are doing, you are declaring another variable called obj2, and in that what you are doing, you are assigning obj1. So whenever you are using what, non-primitive value, okay, a non-primitive type of data whenever you have, so there is a concept called heap, okay. As we have learned about the stack, so that is also memory, and heap is also a memory. So there will be a small chunk of memory, okay. So whatever non-primitive data you are going to declare now, that will be stored inside what, heap only. So we don't know exactly where it will be stored, so it will take any like available chunk of that heap, and it is going to store that object in it. So this object, let's say you have created, so this object is going to be saved in this one, let's say obj1. So for this particular chunk there will be an address. So in hexadecimal format it will be, let's say, 0f f9dc, kind of that something will be there. So you have one address just to identify that where you have stored that particular obj. So here obj value will be there, okay, not exactly this placeholder. So value will be there means here you have num colon 30, okay. And here you have your placeholder which you have declared, and what is the name of that placeholder or the variable obj1. So it will store here what, address of that particular heap memory, okay. So it is going to store what, address, not value. Actual value will be stored where, in heap, always remember this. Now, so it is just referencing what, the address of this memory, and actual value is where, actual value is stored here inside heap. Now what you did, next time you are saying inside obj2, okay, you are going to assign the same thing. So here this is not working like what, a normal primitive type. You are not copying and here this value, you are copying that what, address reference. So this address and this address will remain same. So means address which is holding obj1 and address which is holding obj2, both are equal or not, tell me. Both are equal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so here the address is same, you are not copying the value. It means this obj2 is also referencing that particular memory only. So whenever you are saying obj, okay, 1 dot num, means whatever address here we have, and in that particular address or location we have stored what, num property. And what is value inside that, 30. So what I did, obj1 dot num is equal to what I did, I have updated as 60. So it will check, okay, where is obj, obj is nothing but the address which is stored here, okay. So it will go to this one, then it will say update the value of what, num to 60. So here at this particular memory, it is going to update that value of num as 60, okay. So you have updated where, to obj1. So as you can see in the case of obj2 also, as it is storing the same address, whenever you will try to print the value of obj2.num, so obj2 means it is referencing to this particular memory, and what is the num value right now is 60. So that's why here we call it as, this is reference type address. It is not going to store the actual value. It is going to store what? Address of that actual value. So that's why whenever you are trying to update the first object, and if you will try to print the second object also value, if it is referencing the same address, you are going to get the same value. So this is known as like reference type. Why I'm saying reference? Because it is holding what? Address of that particular heap memory. Okay, not the actual value. So whenever you are going to update any value in that particular object or variable, if you are assigning any object in variable, so it means you are assigning the reference or the address in this particular variable, not actual value. So this actual value will be stored where? This will be stored inside heap. Okay, is that clear? So now what I'm going to do is, so tell me now one thing. Whenever I'm printing this one, now this is clear. Now you have to answer console.log. If I'm going to just check whether obj1 double equal to obj2, what will be the output? Double equal to and now triple equal to also. What will be the output? True or false? What is inside obj? If I'm saying obj1, what will be the value inside that?
60.
Sorry.
Sorry, can you come again?
So what is stored inside obj1 right now? Just now, as I have said here, it will be
So
stored
it's
what?
updated, right? Obj.num 60.
No, 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 no. What I was saying here when I was explaining on that board, whenever you are declaring a variable, what it is going to store?
Address.
Address. So the address is same, if you will see here. So it is going to hold the address, isn't it?
Yes.
So here we have one address. So address of that particular heap memory. And here also it is storing what? Address. So as you
Same
can
only.
see, same only. So obj1 double equal to obj2 means we are comparing the address, not actual value, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, yes.
So it will be what? True. In
True.
this case also, if you are going to compare the same address is there, even though if you will use double equal to or triple equal to, you will get the same result. So that's why you are getting what? True.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm going to just comment these things here. We'll declare here where obj1 is equal to one empty object I'm taking here. And same thing I'm going to copy here where obj2. Now what will be the output? This is also empty. This is also empty. We have two objects, obj1 and obj2. If your concept is clear, you can answer. Just think about this.
It written true.
This will show
Then you can
error.
answer.
Error.
Now tell me one thing, like both of them are same object or two different objects?
Two different.
Two different objects means both of them are stored on two different addresses.
Yes.
So the reference will be different because it is not going to compare with that value. It is
Yes.
just going to check the address. As I'm saying, whenever you are storing any non-primitive value, not in the case of just object only, I'm saying about the array also. Okay. So if you have any array or object means non-primitive type of data, if you will compare both of them are same also by seeing like visually, if you'll write here, like here we have empty array or empty object, here also we have empty object. So you will think like, okay, this is empty and this is empty, so both of them should be equal. But this is not working like that. No, it is going to store the address. So this object will be stored on a
Different
different
address.
location and this one will be stored on the
Different.
different location.
Mm,
So it is going to compare what? Address, not the value. Okay.
False, sir.
So here also false and here also false
false.
you will get because you are comparing two different addresses. Okay. So we have seen whenever we are using the call by value, if you will compare two different variables also, okay, and the value is same, you will get what? True, because they are comparing what? Value, not addresses, isn't it? So in the case of call by value, it will compare just value. But if you have any non-primitive type and you have stored somewhere in any variable or identifier, so it will just hold the address or reference, not the actual value. Okay. So you need to always remember these things when you are working with what? Non-primitive value. So it will work based on the reference. We can take one example here. Let's say here we have where obj is equal to, okay, num colon 10. Okay. And here I'm going to write what? A function demo. It is going to accept one parameter. I'm giving name as obj only. Okay. And here what I'm saying is whenever I'm going to call, it should increment obj dot, or here I'm going to write, let's say, object dot num plus plus. Okay. And now here what I'm going to do is, first I will give you here a console.log just to print the original object. And now what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to call this one demo function, and it it is accepting a one what, as we have declared here, a parameter it should accept here as an object. So it is going to take one argument. So I'm going to pass this object here as a argument. Okay. So we will pass this complete object in it. Now I'm going to print the again the same object here. So what do you think the value or the output will be here? Tell me. We have declared one object. Fine. We will print this one. We will get means the same object. Okay, till here fine. Then we have one function which is accepting one parameter. So we will pass that object or whatever we have here. This is an object, no? So we will pass that object as an argument. So it will be passed here. Okay, inside this function. So inside this function means we have that object. So object, if you will print simply, I'm not going to call this right now. Simply, if you will print what, then you will be able to answer, I think. First, we will print what is inside object. Okay, what is inside object. I'm going to print this one. So here, as you can see, this is the first console log. You are getting num 10. When we are calling this and we are passing this object, so inside this function also we are getting the same object, isn't it? And when the function execution is done, the last console is also printing the same object. Now what will be the output?
It will print 11.
Where means what exactly? Here it will print num 10, num 11, num 10, or what?
Num 11, sir, last one.
So
Num 10, num
okay,
11, num
where,
11.
why? This is one parameter and which is only accessible inside this block. Okay, can you access this object outside? No, because this is the part of this block only, this function block. We have already learned about these things in functions, isn't it? So when I'm saying update these things, so it should update here only, but this will not happen in this case. So here what it is going to do, okay, it is going to update here the actual object. So see what is happening. First you are getting what? Obj. So it will print actual object. We have not modified yet. Then we will pass this object inside this function. Then it will come here. So this object is passed means that address is being passed. So we will be able to access with that address. So on this particular address, we have num. Here also we are referencing, no, we are not modifying the object for this parameter, because this parameter is also accepting address only. We are passing just reference, not actual value. So it will go to that particular address and there it is going to update the num value. Whatever the value is there, it is going to update. So when it will update, so where it is updating actually? In heap, because inside object we have just address. On that particular address, go and update the num value. Okay, and then you will try to access this one. Obj means it is updating the actual value of that particular object, because this is type of what? Reference type. It is holding everywhere address only. So same address is being passed to the function also. Okay, so that's why you are getting here num as a 11. Okay, is that clear now? What is called by value and called by reference?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so always the non-primitive value, even if you are using an object or an array, so that will be stored where? In heap, and it will store just a reference wherever you are assigning that value and whatever variable you are using. So variable is going to store just the address. Okay, address, not value, for the non-primitive. Always remember these things. Now the next thing is there, like, see, here we have a gocha, like whenever you want to copy an object, if you will try to change somewhere, like in the second object, it is going to change the first object also, because they are referencing the same address. If you will just reassign, isn't it? So how to avoid that? If you want to clone an object, okay, and after that if you want to reuse that one and don't want to touch the existing one, then what you have to do? So for that, what you can do is, if you remember yesterday, we have learned about the for in loop. Okay, so you have to create your own, like a new object, and then you have to copy that particular, like, entire keys and values in that individually. So here I'm going to write, let's say, where here I'm writing obj1. Okay. And here we have, let's say, name, Dan, and role as a developer. Okay. So here we have two properties. Fine. Now, if you want to just clone that object, okay, the same object, same properties. So what you can do, you can simply create obj2 is equal to obj1, isn't it? If you will try to print here console.log obj1 and obj2, you will get the same result. Okay, that's fine. You are able to copy, you are able to clone. But here we have one problem. This obj1 and obj2 are referencing the same address. So if you will try to change something here in like obj2 dot name, so you have cloned it. So you will try to manipulate this one somewhere, like later if you want to change. So num is equal to, I'm going to write here, let's say uh, xyz. Okay. So what it is going to do, it is going to manipulate the original one also. So but I don't want these things. Okay. So how you can avoid this? So for that one, what you have to do, I'm going to simply, just to avoid that, I'm going to do what? Simply I'll create that object. Okay. And we'll create another empty object. So here we have, this is one object and this one is another object. So both of them are referencing what? Two different addresses. So obviously these two objects are different. Now, whatever property name and value is there, I want to just copy in it. So what we can do, if you remember, we have learned about the for in loop. Okay. So here I'm going to do what? Where key. Okay. In, from where you have to copy obj1. I will just show you here how it is working. So we'll try to write like this, console dot log. Okay, console dot log will print first keys, then you will be able to understand. See, we are able to print now keys of that particular object, name and role. So what if you want values? So can we write here like this? Obj1 of key, we will be able to get that value. So what we can do, as you can see here, we are able to access the property name as well as value. So what we can do, where we have to push now those two things in object2. So simply we can write here obj2 of. So whatever key here we have, no, that we can take key. Okay. And is equal to, what we can do now, obj1 of key. So here what I'm doing, whatever obj of 1 and to this particular key, whatever value is there, I want to assign on this key. So see here, now we have assigned that one, and now we'll try to print the obj1 and obj2 here. See, both of them are same. But if you will try to change something here, like let's say obj1 dot name is equal to Right now it is Dan, no? And you have copied the same thing. So I'm going to write here, let's say Steve. Okay, we'll see that. So the first object, if you are changing, see the second one is not getting changed. Okay, so you can clone like this if you want. Just you have to use the for in loop, and just you can copy the same property name and value in it. Okay, then you can avoid that. Is that clear? Now if you are going to change obj 2 dot role is equal to mentor, see this one you are able to change, and the object one is same whatever you have defined here. Okay, so you can clone any object by using this method. Okay, do you have any question? No? Fine. So this is one way that you can use. Otherwise, you can use one built-in method. Now, Himanshu, you will get the answer here. What you have asked in the beginning of this session, first thing you have asked about, call by reference, I think, and call by value, or what?
Object assign.
Object assign is the one thing. Another one you have asked. Remember that?
I think reference
I think so. You have asked about the reference or something.
yes.
Okay, fine. So now if you want to clone, you can use object dot assign method. This is one built-in method that you can use. Okay. Object dot what? Assign. So let's say here we have one object. Okay. We have another object. Okay. Another object. And here property, I'm going to change it as here I'm going to change it as, let's say, game cricket. Okay. Matches. Let's say I'm saying 45. Okay. So what I want to do is, first thing we have seen, like if you want to just copy and or you can say like if you want to clone something in that particular object, you can use that one. Fine. What if you want to merge these two objects? Then, so what you have to do is simply, in which object you want to merge, in object one or object two. So if you want to merge these two objects in this one, like in obj1, if you want all these four properties, so the target object you have to write first. You have to write obj1, and then the object which you want to merge, you have to write over there obj2. Okay. If you will save here this one, and we'll try to print these two things. See, the first object, the first one, in the first one we have added the name, role, game, and what? Matches. So you are able to what? you are able to merge two objects. So before merging, if you will see, you will get the original objects only. See, name, role. Second one is game matches. But what you have done, if you want to clone or if you want to merge two or more objects, then you can use, like, you can write, like, if you have multiple objects, simply you can write the, like, multiple objects here, obj1 comma obj2 comma obj3, but always remember the first one will be the target, and after that whatever you are going to write will be the source. Okay, all those objects will be copied in the first object. Okay, and it is going to manipulate actually the original object, as you can see here. Okay, so we are merging the other properties of the object in this existing one. That you can do by using Object.assign. Okay, now I can show you this one. Let's say here you have obj2 and here we have obj1. So you can see here we have the first object, then second object before merging. After merging, the first object is as it is, and the second object, as you can see here, the second object is on the place of the target, and this one is the source. So in the target object, we are adding the properties of object one. Okay, that you can see here: game, cricket, match, 45, name, Dan, role, developer. So you can clone or you can merge object by using Object.assign. One more thing here we can do is, let's say if you have to clone that object, I'm going to just comment that one. We'll create var, okay, obj uh, 2 is equal to, okay, obj2 is equal to, simply you can write, instead of writing this for in loop, we were trying to just copy each and every, like, key in another object. So instead of that, what you can do directly, you can write Object.assign, okay, and then in the place of target, create one empty object, comma, if you want to make the clone of this one obj1, just pass that name here, obj1. Now it will give you the same object. Okay, so instead of writing this for in loop, you can simply write this one also, Object.assign, to make a clone or if you want to merge. Okay, it will work for both of the things. This is a kind of tool that you can use if you want to create a clone or if you want to merge two or more objects. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can also use a blank array if we want here.
Here array.
Yeah.
So in array also it is going to add the same thing, no?
Okay.
If you will use like this,
It is in not in the format of a property or
yeah, so here it is not going to add like that. We will use for that one like destructuring we can use, so then it will work, destructuring. Okay, so you can use that one. As you can see here in array form it is coming, not with the, like, actual proper thing. If you will just try to print here object dot length, you will get 0. As you can see here in obj2 there is, if you will see, two things available, name and role, but that is not the correct format for this
yes,
object.
it is in a key
Yeah,
format.
so this is known as associative array, which is not supported actually in JavaScript.
Okay.
Okay, So you need to add one object inside that. So you can add one object as a like one particular element here. Okay, then it will work.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So destructuring we can use if you want like that. I think it should work. Okay, not like that. Actually, here it is creating array, no? So destructuring that also we can use. We will see later, like how to use the destructuring things in like array as well as for the objects. Later we will see that one also. Okay, but here this is not the correct format. So here I'm going to create the empty object like this, and it is going to create the same thing. You can make a clone here. Now one more thing, in case if you are merging two different objects, okay, two different objects like this, and here also you have one property called name. Okay, let's say I'm writing here John, comma, and if you'll try to merge these two things here, okay, so if you have the same property available already, that will be overridden, as you can see. So Dan is now reassigned with the updated one. Okay, that you can see here. That will be overwritten actually. It is not working here. It is not taking that Dan. It is taking that one as a John. Is that clear? So whenever you are merging two different objects, if any property name is already there, that will be overwritten. That you need to always remember. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay. Any question? No? Now, apart from this object.assign, we have another method also that you can use on objects. Let's say if you want to check just the entries, okay? If you want to check the entries means keys and values, how many values are there or how many entries are there. So what you can do, simply let's say here we have obj. And if you want to check like how many elements are there in it, console.log for array, what we were doing like obj, here we have no dot length, dot length. For array it will work, but for object if you will try to check by using length property, that will not work. So for that one, what you have to do is simply, if you want to check like let's say the entries, what are the key and property values. So for that one, here you have one method called Object.entries. Okay, so in Object.entries you have to pass that particular object. Okay, then only you will be able to see the entries here. So you are getting those entries in the form of array. So if you will expand, see on the 0 index you have name as a property, and here we have value. On first index you have property name as role, and here we have value. So this is the first thing that you can check here, the entries. And if you will write like dot length, so now it will work. Like it will return you like two elements are there or two entries are there, because it is returning the Object.entries is returning what? Array. So on array we can apply length property. So that's why you are able to see this. Now, what if you want to check just keys? not the complete entries, just keys, means the property name. So for that one, here we have another method as keys. Okay. And if you will write like this, you will get just keys in the form of array, like name and role. You are getting what? Name and role. The property name just you are getting, or keys. Okay. And here also we can check the length because it is returning what? Array. So on array, we can apply the length property. It will return again 2. Okay. Another method here we have, that is object dot values. Just if you want to take all those values of that particular object, you can go with the object dot values method. So it will return you just values, dan and developer, isn't it? So here also, if you want to check the length, because it is returning what? An array, you can check the length. So you can use these 3 methods on object if you want to check what? The entries or keys or values of object. Do you have any question? Anyone? No? Okay, fine. So till now we have seen like how to add any property name in it. Let's say, have you seen this? No, we are writing console, then dot log. So console is nothing but one object, and log is a method which is available inside this object. So whenever any function is defined inside an object, that is known as method. Always remember the terminology. If a function is defined inside what? An object, that is known as what? Method. So here console.log is one method. Object is one property. Inside that we have a function. Okay, that is defined here. So that's why here this function is known as what? Method, because it is defined inside the object. So now we are also going to write some custom functions. Let's say here I'm going to write a method called add. Okay, add is a property name colon, and then you have to write the function. Anonymous function also you can write, or the named function also you can write. So here I'm going to write a function. Okay, and this is going to accept what? 2 parameters, num1 comma num2, and then return num1 plus num2, the same as we write no outside. So like that you can define a function here. Just this is working like a label. Okay, now inside console.log, what I'm going to do, if you want to call this method, okay, so let's say if you want to print the name, what you will do, where it is available inside the object, then you have to write dot to access any property. Here you can see role, name, and add is also now property. So if you want to access name, you will get name here, isn't it? If you want to access role, you will get role here. But if you want to access this method, so as you can see, that is a method. If you will simply call like this, you will get the structure of that particular method. Okay, the structure of that particular method. But you have to call this one to execute this. And what you have to do, you need to write one parenthesis to invoke that one. And as it is saying, we have to pass what? We have to pass what? The first argument as a number and the second argument also number. So I'm passing here 5, second argument as 2. Okay, then see what it is going to give me as a result as 7. So we are able to access this method. It means inside an object we can define what? A function also, and this function will be what? If it is available inside that, it is known as what? Method. Okay. So here we have one like facility that you can use directly. Instead of writing name, as we have seen yesterday about the shorthand property, like if you have the same property and the same value, instead of that you can simply write one thing only. Okay, that we have seen yesterday. So likewise here you can write simply this one, add. This is a shorthand method name. Okay, no need to write the function. You are getting the same result. No need to write colon, no need to write then again function keyword. Simply you can write that method name, and then you can pass the parenthesis for the parameters. Okay, so here you can define any method in an array, sorry, an object like this. Is that clear, everyone? Any question?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay, fine. Now we will see one thing, like here in arrays we have learned already like everything, what we can write, what type of value we can pass. But at that time I have not explained you about the objects, so that's why I have not explained you about this thing, like we can add an object also inside array. So in real time, whenever you will get any data from backend, no, so everyone try to put the object inside array only. So that's why they will, yeah, Himanshu, you have asked about the map function. So here, what you can do, simply I'm going to write var. Okay. And here I'm going to write users. This is the normal declaration we can do for an array. So can we write 12, comma 34, comma 56? Isn't it in that array? Is that valid or not? It's valid. It is valid. We can write, you will get these values. So instead of these numbers, can we assign some object in it? Yes, we can. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pass here name. Okay. As a Steve. Okay. Role. Admin. So admin should be in a string. If I'll save, I'll get that one. And here inside this array, we have how many elements? Right now we have just one, and that is in the form of object. Fine. So if you will get some data from the back end, okay, let's say I'm going to take one example from here.
Sir, we can
Place.
take a JSON to this.
That's what I'm going to take,
Oh,
Himanshu.
yeah.
Okay. So here I'm going to run this script. I'm getting just one. Okay. So let's say here we have users. So 10 users array we are getting. Here you have array, see, isn't it? And inside that we have like multiple values in the form of what? Object. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the simple one, like let's say posts. Okay. We'll copy this. Here, I'm going to remove this one. We'll keep this one as posts. Okay. The variable name I'm taking as posts. And here we have that array. Okay. We'll write semicolon over here just to terminate. I don't want these many actually. So I'm going to remove. Okay, in real time, you will get like this. The response you will get like this only. Okay. Still we have more. I'm just going to take few only. 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine. So now what I'm going to do is, if you will see here, users is not defined. So here we have to print what? Posts. So you can see in array we have how many elements? Tell me. 4. And on each and every index here you see we have one object. If you will expand first one, what are the properties name are there? See, body, ID, title, and user ID, isn't it? If you will expand second one, you have again body, ID, title, user ID. So these things are common, isn't it? So let's say you have like thousands of records as I have just now copied here. Okay. And yesterday I was saying, for the last property, if you have like one extra, like this additional comma separator, that will work. So right now we are inside an array, and inside this array we have multiple objects, okay, as an element. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, tell me if I want to access just the first object of this array, what we can do. Now you are aware of this one.
Mm, in bracket 0.
Pose of 0, isn't it? So it will give me the first object, first element, and in the form of what? Object. Now if I want to access user ID or the title, what I have to write here? Tell me.
Dot user ID.
Dot user ID. It will give me the user ID as one. If I want title, what I have to write here?
Title.
Title. I'll get that title. Is that simple or not? Now you are able to understand now what we are doing here with this. Okay. So here we are printing just one. What if you have to print each and everything right now? So can we write here now iteration that we have learned? So for array, we have learned what are the methods we have learned for iteration? We have learned about what? For each, isn't it? We have learned about map, filter, isn't it? So here what I'm saying, we have posts, that is the array name, isn't it? And dot map, or instead of map, I'm going to use for each. Okay, this is one method. And we know that this for each method is going to accept what? One callback as an argument. So we have to pass here function as a callback. Fine. So, and this callback is going to accept how many parameters? 3. So the first one will be the element or the item, whatever you want, you can write. Okay. I'm writing ELE, that is element. I is nothing but index, and last one is nothing but
Whole
your
array.
original array. Okay. So we'll print that here. Then you will be able to understand. First, we are going to print. So console.log will print first what? What we are getting in ELE. And as I said on that day, order matters here. First thing will be element, second one will be index, and last one will be what? Array. So if you are going to remove, if you don't want index and array, you can remove. Okay. If you want just element and index, you can remove the array also. So here we are going to print one by one. what is inside index, that also we will see, and what is inside array, that also we are going to see. So see here, we are getting what? First, as a element means the original what? The first element of the array we are getting, this one. That is nothing but one element. As an index, as it is present on the 0 index, it is giving me the index, and the complete array it is returning. Every time it is going to return in array the same thing. Next thing, here we have another element, that is here you can see. Okay, likewise it is printing as many times. You can see here as many elements are there, those many times it is going to just iterate. So now what I'm trying to do is here, I'm just going to write here one condition. If, okay, instead of writing if, first we will write if element, whatever element we are getting, element dot, element means it is referencing this particular element, and in that it is getting in the form of what? Object. So we can access that property, no, id. So element dot id is equal to 2. If it is 2, what we have to do? We have to print console.log its title. I'm taking that one only. So print the title of what? Of that particular element dot title you have to write. So see here, it is going to print the title of that particular thing here. See title, where the id is 2. If you want, no, I don't want title, I want what? Body. So then you have to write element dot body. It is giving me that. So condition now you can write, okay, and the iteration you have to use. Map is nothing but for transformation only. If you want to manipulate your original array, okay, then you can use map. So, and it is not going to mutate your original array that we have seen. So let's say here I'm going to write var new posts, okay, new posts, and instead of for each, it is going to take the same thing, same callback, same number of elements here parameters for that callback. And now what I'm saying, if it is element dot 2 is there, no, so what I'm going to do, then return, okay, then return for that element dot title is equal to great. We'll save this one, and now I'm going to just check here the new posts. Here we have undefined because we have not returned for that one. For this one we have returned great. For this one we have undefined. For this one also we have undefined. Okay, and if you will write every time like return, if you want to return the complete array, or if you want to manipulate those things whatever you are getting, you can simply return like this. Here instead of writing return directly, you can write at the end, means post evaluation of this you can write, and finally you will get the new array as you are getting here right now. So for transformation we use map method. We have filter also, you can filter. Okay, if you will use filter here, okay, filter, the same callback it is going to accept. What it is saying here, if you are finding element.id is equal to 2, then return what? Return that particular element. So it is going to return you that particular element. So it is returning just that element only which we are looking for. Okay. Or if you want just title of that particular element, you can get that one as well, or the body. So here you have that one. So simply you can print the new post, and in that form here, okay, element dot body, element. Okay. Here we are not just returning that particular value, no, because you will get in the form of array only that particular element. Here element dot body means it is going to return that particular element only, and then you can filter from there whatever you want. Okay. Now if you want like new post dot user ID, new post dot ID, new post dot title, you can filter from there again. You can access from there. So just to iterate over this array, you can use these things like for each, filter, map, reduce also you can use. Okay. So these are the like the new it. If you will see here, I have already mentioned this one, the new utility methods or the higher order functions for array. So that we have already covered actually in array only, that methods. And in JavaScript latest features, we have seen that null quelish operator. We have seen about the latest methods. What is that? Object.assign, Object.entries, Object.keys. These things are the part of this only. Okay. So this is all about the objects and array. In object, we are going to learn more about the this keyword, how actually it works in next session. But before that, now we'll start with what? Var, let, and const. The difference between var, let, and const. Tomorrow we will see like what is this and how actually it works. And use strict also I will try to cover. We have seen like many times when we have used use strict, but still I will try to cover as a separate topic where you can use strict and how it will work. It's loading. Yeah. So any one of you know the difference, the basic difference between var, let, and const? We have seen that like const and let will create the block scope thing whenever we are using that, isn't it? Anyone knows about that?
Suppose we assign var is equal to 10. After that, we can also change their value.
Yeah.
Yeah, in late if we assign in late same it goes with var, but in const it not go with same. We cannot assign it
Yeah. So
again.
here
Yeah, because this blockchain block. And hosting also we can in var we can host var and late we can host, but in const I think no, in var we can host, but late and const we can hosting not done in late and const.
okay, means in let and const it will not host.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Mm.
Anyone else? No. Okay, fine. We will see here. Like here in var, let, and const, we are already aware of these three things. Like we used to declare a variable by using these three keywords, isn't it? That is like the basic thing. If you will see the first one, origin, if we will talk about origins, so the var, when they have introduced from the beginning of the JavaScript, but let and const is introduced in ECMAScript 6, or you can say ES 2015. These two things. This is simple. How about a scope? A scope we have seen where we'll work with the function scope only, and let and const creates what? Block scope. That also we have seen, isn't it? Tell me. These two things we have seen, no? Like where we'll work with the function scope, if you will write inside uh, if a statement or a for loop, it will be accessible outside also, but this let and const will be not accessible. That we have seen or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the third thing which we are going to discuss today is get attached to the global object. What is the meaning of that? That we will see. First thing. So in var it is saying yes, let no, const no. Fine. In an interview, they usually ask these question: what is the difference between let, var, and const? Okay, so you can answer this one. Var, let, and const. Okay, why to skip this one? This one also I'm going to cover, no problem. See, just we will reference from there, just for the reference, what are the points, and then we will discuss here. So the first thing is about, like we know the origin for the var and let and const. Var is available from the beginning of the JavaScript, and let and const they have introduced in ES6. That is the first thing. Second thing is scope. So if you are writing something like this, let's say here we have if. Okay, simply I'm writing if true. Okay, where x is equal to 10. And now if you will try to print here console dot log x, output will be 10 only. If it is false, then what will be the output? Tell me. You will get undefined. And why you are getting undefined?
Because it not go inside this if condition. If it is
Okay,
false, then it's not.
then it should give me error. It should give me error. Why it is giving me undefined?
Not storing the value.
Not storing the value, but how about the declaration? If you will see here in window, let's say I'm going to write this one XYZ, because we have never declared any variable with this name, no? We'll save this one. So you are getting undefined. And when you will type window, why do you go at the end? It's better always write ABC, so we can check here on the top only. So when I'm writing ABC and trying to print, we are getting undefined. Now we will type here window and we'll see here what is inside this. It is there or not. So ABC is attached to the global scope, means at the time of creation phase, it got declared, isn't it? It got declared with what value? Undefined. So that's why you are able to access this one. This declaration is attached in what? In the global scope. That's why you are able to access. But until and unless at the runtime or the execution phase, if this statement is not true, it is not going to assign this value in it. Okay. So that's why you are getting what? This is also like in interview, they ask like this. So what will be the output? So even though if it is a like function scope thing, you are able to access outside, you will get value as undefined only because this is false. If it is true, it will allow this one to execute this line and assign the new value in it. And then you will be able to print what? 10. Okay. So if you will write here simply window, and if you'll see here, you are getting ABC is 10. So it means here you are able to access outside. What if you are using let? What will be the output? Tell me. We have learned about now the block scope. So this is inside the block, and we have declared this variable with the let keyword inside this block. So you will get error because outside this block you are not able to access it, isn't it? It will be available just inside the if block. So it means it will work with the block scope. Const also we will see the same result you will get here, that ABC is not defined because ABC is inside this block and you are trying to access outside this block. So how it will be available? Because in global scope, it is not there, isn't it? If you're declaring any variable with var keyword inside any block, you will be able to access outside of the block because that is a function scope. If it is inside a function, var, let or const, you won't be able to access it outside the function. Okay. So this is related to a scope. The first statement is about origin. Second one is related to scope. So that we have seen that var will work with the function scope and let and const will work with the block scope. Second is also done. Third one was about, let me do reshare again. So third one was about the, see here what it is saying. Third one, get attached to the global object. Which one? Var. And how about let and const? No, no, it is saying. So that also we are going to see now. So if I'm declaring a variable, let's say var x, okay, is equal to 10. Let y is equal to 10. Const, okay, ABC3. Why I'm writing? Because it will be available on top only. So I'll be able to see that ABC2 and ABC1. So when I'm saving this, no, we'll check the window object, and window is the global object. So here, if you will see, it is saying that in global object, var will be attached. But if we'll try to check here let and const, which is declared with the let and const keyword, you won't be able to see in the global object. So let's see here. Window, we'll expand it. I'm able to see here ABC1, which is declared with what keyword? Tell me. ABC1 is declared with what? Var. So actually, whenever you are going to declare any variable or any identifier with the var keyword, it will be attached to the window object. So this is the property right now, and property of which object? Window. So let's say here, if the object name is window and the property name is ABC, so how we can access window dot ABC1? You are getting that value. So it means window dot ABC1 is there. But if you will try to look for the window dot ABC2, you will get undefined. 3, you will get undefined. Whenever you are getting undefined means this property is not available inside this object that we have seen yesterday. So that's what they are saying. Whenever you will declare any variable with let or const, it will be not the part of what? Window object. If it is in which scope? If it is in global scope. Okay, that also you need to remember. So what is the advantage here? If you are using let and const, you can avoid the name collision. Even though if you are redeclaring something, here you will get error. And one more thing, there is a kind of abstraction that these names will be not leaked outside the here. Even though if it is inside the global scope, you won't be able to see in the global object as a property name. So that is a security. Third thing also we have learned about this. Like whenever you are declaring any variable with var, that will be attached to the global object, and let and const will not be attached with that. Now we'll see the fourth point. Redeclaration within a scope, it is saying. What? Within a scope. Redeclaration, where you can redeclare, let and const you cannot. That we will see. Okay. So if you have here ABC, okay, 10, ABC, same name with the same keyword, 20. I'm not getting any error. What it is going to do, it will simply ignore the first one, and then it will just assign the updated value. Now I'm going to, as we know that if you will declare any variable with var keyword, that will be the property, or it will be it is going to attach with the global object simply. So window dot ABC. See, even though if you have declared something, you are able to again redeclare that. Okay, with the same name. So right now here we have value 10. You can assign this one as a function also. So redeclaration is possible with the what? Var keyword. But if you will write something like this for the let, you will get error and syntax error. Uncaught syntax error. Identifier ABC2 has already been declared. Means it is already declared. You cannot what? You cannot redeclare it. And why I was saying, I was repeating that within the same scope, because if you are writing, let's say, if, okay, and here you have a statement called, let's say, true, and the same thing if you are going to redeclare here, there's no problem with this. So don't ever say that we cannot redeclare a variable. You have to clear that. Clearly, you have to say that in same scope we cannot declare. If we have two different scope, we can declare it with the same name, as you can see here. So the same thing will work for the const also. If you are going to redeclare the const, you will get the same type of error here. ABC3 has already been declared. So again, if you have this two different scopes, okay, if you have two different scopes and you are declaring with the same name, either with let or const. There's no problem at all. So that's why I have clearly mentioned over here. If you will see that redeclaration within a scope, okay, within same scope actually. If you want to redeclare with the var, it is possible, but with let and const, it is not possible. Fine. One more thing here we will see. Let's try these things with the use strict. Are you getting any error? No. So in use strict also, if you are using any class module or anything, redeclaration is allowed with the var keyword. That you need to remember. Okay. One more thing we have seen. Now, what is the next point for the let? Reassigned within a scope. We can assign for var, let, but not for const. That also we are going to see. See, here I'm not going to. I'm reassigning this one. Okay. Here we have let. We will see first this one. I'm reassigning this. So if you will try to print here ABC1, you will get that I'm able to update this value. Reassignment is happening. That is fine. What if I'm going to reassign ABC2 is equal to 30? It is working or not? So for let also reassignment is working fine in the same scope or in different. If it is working in same scope, means it can work in a different scope also. Now what if I'm going to try here ABC3 is equal to 50? You will get error. So type error. Assignment to constant variable is not possible actually. If you are saying this is constant, how you are trying to change this one? This is not possible, no? So that's why here it is not allowing in the same scope, but you can do here. Like if you have here like ABC3 is equal to 10, here you can declare with the same variable name and you can assign some other value. But the redeclaration here also or reassignment is not possible inside this scope also. That you need to always remember. With let you can reassign with some other value. With var you can assign, but you cannot reassign with the const. Whether it is mutable or not, that we are going to see mutable or not. What is the meaning of mutable? So let's see here. I'm saying assign this one ABC as 10. That is fine with the var. With let, it is fine. Main problem is here with this one. If I'm writing here ABC3 as an object, and I'm saying here name as Steve. Okay. And then I'm going to write here what? ABC3 dot name is equal to, okay, what? Uh, Dan. It is possible or not? It is possible or not? You won't get any error. Okay. ABC3 we are able to update, means we are able to mutate. Why it is happening? Because here we are storing what? We are using what type of data? Non-primitive. And non-primitive, whenever you are assigning, what it is going to store? Address. So here we are not changing the address. On that particular address, whatever the property name is there, na, for that particular property name, we are changing the value. Address is still same. It means we are not reassigning. Okay. So that's why here we are saying that Even though if you are using a non-primitive type for constant type of keyword, you will be able to mutate that. Okay, we are not reassigning. It seems like here we are reassigning, but the address will be stored in this location, no, ABC3. On that particular address, what property we are looking for? Name, and we are updating that. So it is mutable. Is that clear? If you are using any non-primitive, you will be able to mutate that. Next thing, initialization with value. Okay, so for var it is optional, for late it is optional, but here it is mandate for const. That we will see now. If I'm writing simply var x, I'm not initializing with any value, you will not get any error. If I'm writing simply let y, okay, you will not get any error. Means initialize, even though if you are not initializing any variable, that is fine. If you are writing const, okay, const means here you have to give the constant value. Z is equal to or simply z. If you are declaring any variable with const and you are not initializing this one, it means it will give you an error that missing initializer in const declaration, means it is always mandated to have a initialized value here, initial value. Okay, so here you can give any value. Now it will not give you any error. So for var and let, initialization is optional, but whenever you are using const keyword, you have to obviously means you have to initialize this one, because initially you cannot say for the constant, hey, initially initialize the value with the undefined and later I will change. Means it is not constant, isn't it? Two times you have to update the value. First you have to initialize with, if you are not giving any value explicitly, so internally it is going to initialize with what? Undefined, and later you have to again assign some value in it. So that is kind of, it is breaking the rule, no? It is doing two things. Like first, it is changing the value. Here you are assigning first undefined, and then later you are doing a reassignment, and reassignment is not possible here for const type of variable. So that's why it is giving you an error. Okay, now host table. Himanshu, you said that var will host but let and const will not host, but that is a myth. I'm going to show you here. Actually, var, let and const, all those three types of variable, if you are declaring with those three keywords, actually host. That I can prove you. See here in interview, if now anyone is going to ask you like whether it host or not, you can answer. See, first thing, var x is equal to 10. This is very normal, we have seen. Like if you will try to print console.log x, so we know at the time of creation phase, first it is going to declare it. So this has been declared. When you are trying to run, this will be executed at the runtime or the execution phase. So at the time, what will be the value of x? Undefined. Okay, so you will get undefined here. It means it is hosting. Fine. Now I'm going to write here let, and x is 10, and now I'm trying to access x. So you will get here one error called reference error, cannot access x before its initialization. So how actually JavaScript knows that somewhere it is already declared and it is not initialized when you are trying to fetch the value? So what happens, whenever you are going to declare with the var keyword, and when it hosts on top, no, at the time by default it is going to assign what value in it? Undefined. But that is not the case with the let and const. Okay, it will be in the state of uninitialized state. And if you are trying to access this one, you will get this error. So if it is not aware of that, whether it is declared or not, you should get what type of error? Reference error, but it should give like, I'm not able to find this, isn't it? This should come like this. Let's say if I'm declaring like the y, it is rightly saying no, reference error, y is not defined. So this should also said like that only. But what is happening at the time of creation phase, JavaScript engine knows that the scope manager has maintained the scope, and it will say, hey, in the same scope I have already declared it at the time of creation phase, but right now we do not have any value in it. Okay, and you are trying to access the value of this particular identifier, so I'm not able to give you that because it is not initialized. That's why you are getting here this error, cannot access x before initialization. And this concept is known as in JavaScript TDZ, temporal dead zone. When you are trying to access this one, at the time it is dead, means it is not initialized. Okay, one more thing here we can do. One more thing. If you are saying, still if you are not believing that here it is hosting, I can give you one more example. Okay, here we have, and let create a block scope. So this is inside a block. Fine. So here we have, let's say 30. Okay, let x 30. And here we have x is equal to 10. I'm going to remove this. So at the time when it is not declared, okay, inside this scope, at the time when it is not declared, or it is declared here, see, if you are saying not hosting, so this line should not be aware of this one. It should directly access this value from outside, but that is not the case here. You are getting again, cannot access x before initialization. It means it is hosting on the top and it is saying, hey, I am already available on in this scope with the same name, so you cannot access it from outside. Okay, and right now when you are trying to access me, I'm uninitialized. I do not have any value to return you that you can print. So that's why it is giving you what? An error saying that cannot access x before initialization. Is that clear? It means if you are declaring any variable with let, that also hosts. The same story with the const also. Okay, I'm not going to explain with that const. If you understood here this one, it will work with the const also. If you want, I can write that also, no problem.
Same result coming.
Yeah, same result here also you will get. So now it proves that const and let hosts, isn't it? Now never ever say like that const and let doesn't host. This also host, and it is proving that. Okay, but the only difference is why you are not getting here value, because if you will declare something with var at the time, by default, even though if you're not initializing, it will assign. JavaScript engine is going to assign that what? Undefined
Undefined.
value. Okay, but here that is not the case in the case of let and const.
Let and const.
It proves that it is hosting. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Now the next thing here, just give me 2 minutes, we'll complete this one. Temporal dead zone. So temporal dead zone was the last thing which we have seen. Like here, even though if you are trying to access something before its initialization, you will be able to access that, isn't it? So there is no TDZ thing for var keyword because you will get undefined value, but you will get TDZ means temporal dead zone. That is nothing but access it before its initialization. That's why I said it will work with the let and const. So TDZ is there for let as well as const. Okay, So because of these things only, I have not explained at that time var, let, and const, because first I thought I will complete hosting, then call by reference, call by what we say value, then only you will be able to understand why it is mutating, what is happening. That's why I have explained you now the var, let, and const. Now you are aware of the hosting, everything, isn't it? So now you can answer them like what is the main difference between var, let, and const, isn't it? Total 9 difference you can say here. Like first one origin, second thing is the scope, then the one which you are declaring with var, that will be attached to the global object and rest will not. Okay, and the advantage also I have said why it is good. And redeclaration within a scope, that also you can say reassign within a scope, whether it is mutable or not. You can say initialization is mandate or not, is this hostable or not. TDZ work with which variable with assigned declared with var or late or const. So these are the difference you can tell them. Okay.